of the Reclaiming Wellness Live. And as you know, this is a 4-part series all about women's health and specifically celebrating Women's History Month, although this is the kind of stuff that you can actually pay attention to every single month of the year. And in this particular four-part series, I am focusing on women's reproductive health and specifically on 4 issues that affect most of the women that come to me with problems for their reproductive health. Come to me for these 4 particular problems. So I wanted to address them here for the benefit of the collective and my community. If you haven't seen the other 2 episodes, this is episode 3 of 4. So this is a 4-part series. If you have not seen the other ones, just head on over to my channel to check out the other 2 because they are amazing. We talked about libido and how to increase your libido and get your juices flowing. And we talked about perimenopause and menopause and how to reduce these symptoms and live the best life you can possibly live. Today, we're going to talk about premenstrual syndrome and or PMS. For those of you who don't know what those 3 words, those 3 little but powerful words mean, that's what they mean. So, let's talk about that. But before, make sure that you actually subscribe to my channel and that you click that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my future live broadcasts. So let's get to it. All right. So PMS. Listen, if I had a nickel for every day that I've struggled with PMS, I will be retired by now. And if I had a nickel for every woman that comes to me telling me my PMS is driving me crazy, again, I will be fully retired. 75% of women are believed to suffer from some sort of premenstrual set of symptoms, one or multiple symptoms that disrupt their lives every single month of the year, from the time you're a young teenager until the time you go through menopause, or somehow your cycle is disruptive and you no longer have a cycle in the traditional sense. So this is really, 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 really common. These symptoms could start as early as a week or 2 before your period, and maybe mild, or they may be really severe. But either way, for most of us women out there who menstruate, people who menstruate, we would struggle. We will know there's a guarantee few days of discomfort, of pain, of all sorts of other symptoms, and we're going to talk about the symptoms in a minute. But before we go there, it's important that we know that hormonal balances is a primary factor, right, that will determine PMS symptoms and what you would experience. It doesn't mean that you are broken or that your hormones are worse than anybody else's, or that you will have less of an ability to be pregnant or to carry a baby to term or to live a full, satisfying sexual life. None of that. Both things can be equal, can be real at the same time, right? So you can struggle with PMS and still have phenomenal intimacy with your partner. You could just be pregnant and have multiple babies and still struggle with this thing. It is ubiquitous. The other thing that is important for you to know is that diet and lifestyle, again, with the other 2 topics, I mentioned these 2, is critical to pay attention to your diet and lifestyle, because your hormones are directly affected by what you eat, by the thoughts that you feed your mind, by the things that you do to feed and nourish yourself, and by the environment. So while we cannot control or have too much of a say in the air that we breathe necessarily, or the water that we drink, although we do have some options, but we are part of this earth, right? And so if the earth is polluted, chances are we're going to be affected by it. There are certain things that you cannot control, but some others that you can. And I'm talking about the things that you can control. Diet, lifestyle. Are you eating a lot of animal flesh? Are you eating a lot of foods that are considered estrogenic in nature, that will naturally cause disruption in your hormonal life? Are you consuming too much dairy? That it's, we know now that it just causes a lot of mucus and it just causes a lot of inflammation and acidity in the body. Is that potentially part of the reason why you are feeling the way you feel in the midst of PMS? It's not just your hormonal issue. Your hormonal issue is the main culprit here, but then it translates and manifests into what happens inside your body, and inflammation will play a big role, not only in your issues with your hormones, but your ability to be in less pain, a little bit more comfortable as you struggle and try to reduce the symptoms. The that's the not so great stuff. The really awesome stuff is that the world of herbalism, the world of plant medicine, has so much to offer in the way of alternatives to help you reduce your symptoms. Remember, premenstrual syndrome is not necessarily a disease, right? It's considered a group of symptoms that happen to certain women at certain times of the month, and they can, and just like you can reduce certain symptoms with certain medication, you can use herbal medicine to help you address some of these issues. For every woman out there, there might be a combination of herbal protocol that will be perfect for you. So your girlfriends and your mom and your aunties might be telling you, oh, take this, and then you take it for a few months and you don't feel well and then you drop it. Don't be discouraged, right? Like, for every action in the body, there might be about a dozen herbs out there that will help you. So if one doesn't really agree with you, then you can try the others until you find the right balance and help yourself that way. And of course, if you don't know, you can always connect with me or other herbalists in your community for additional help. So enough of that. Let's talk about the symptoms. Fatigue, bloating, skin issues, whether excessive dryness or excessive, production of sebum, emotional changes, breast tenderness, a lot of cramping, lower back pain, inflammation, bloating. Sometimes women get constipation. Sometimes they get the exact opposite. They get loose stools. So again, if you have two or more of these things, your alternatives, your protocol is going to sound and be slightly different than for others. However, there's a handful of things that I think you should start by looking at, and that might be able to help you regardless of where you are and what your series of symptoms are. The first thing, and as a vegan that has struggled with a lot of hormonal issues, I will tell you, plenty of studies have shown that women that eat a plant-based diet, high in vegetables, in fruit, nuts, seeds, and herbs, have fewer symptoms of PMS. So if you're not ready for a full plant-based diet, at least do the reduce and replace method, right? Like, eat a plant-based meal 1 day a week, perhaps 3 days, three meals a day rather, for 1 day of the week. See how your body reacts. Perhaps go plant-based 2 or 3 weeks before your cycle and see if that helps you reduce your symptoms. Although I will tell you that if you actually have a lot of animal flesh and then try to do the good, healthy, plant-based stuff maybe 2 days before your period, that's not going to make a big difference, right? It's like when you were in high school and they tell you to work really hard, otherwise you won't get into college, and then you only work hard the very last semester. That's not the way it works. So just make sure that you actually take a lot of fiber and a ton of water. There's no point in eating fiber if you're going to be dehydrated, because that will actually exacerbate issues of constipation. Leafy green vegetables. So whether you're ready to be a plant-based person or not, eating lots of vegetables, especially leafy greens, they have a diuretic effect, and they are really great sources of calcium, magnesium, and can help you reduce menstrual cramps. I'm talking about lettuce. I'm talking about other leafy greens like spinach and others, especially the dark green ones. Flax seeds is known to help promote healthy estrogen metabolism. I will take the flax seeds and will grind them like in a coffee grinder that I use just for herbs, and then I put them in my smoothies. I don't buy them already ground, because they kind of like lose their effectiveness a little bit faster. um, and then anything that will help you reduce inflammation, like anything that is omega-3 in an omega-6 in nature, has some sort of omega-3s or omega-6, like healthy oils like avocado or olive oil, like sea vegetables are actually really great for you. And then when it comes to the plant world, there's a couple of things that I like. First of all, I love heat. If you have a gym in your neighborhood, you might want to go to the sauna a couple of times a week, maybe every day while you're struggling with PMS. You can use a warming pad either on your breast or on your belly. And I love castor oil, believe it or not. There's other oils that are actually really great, but they're a lot harder to find. I'm mentioning here, the ones that you can find pretty much anywhere. And castor oil, I think the first time I heard about castor oil was my grandmother when I was really crampy. She just, will take a little cloth and will damp it in castor oil, put it right on my belly, and then put a warming pad. And it was just like literally like an internal hug. It was amazing. I've been using them on and off for decades. Love, love, love that stuff. Vitex or chased berry. It's actually the quintessential PMS plant. Many women use it, especially very early on. You can use it when you're 13, 14 years old. You can use it throughout your lifespan, your reproductive lifespan. It helps you balance estrogen and progesterone ratios. So it's really, really amazing. Magnesium is not an herb. It's actually a nutrient that you need. It's a mineral. And the leafy green vegetables are going to have a lot of this magnesium. But if you don't have enough leafy greens, then you might want to have some magnesium citrate or other. I like citrate. Is the one that to me is one of the best in terms of bioavailability. Easy for your body to use. It helps with constipation, but it won't actually cause diarrhea if you're having issues with loose stools. It also is critical for the metabolism of estrogen and can help you relieve cramping because it actually calms your central nervous system. So it is a win-win in terms of those plants. And I think that's it. I think I'm just going to keep it at that because I wanted to keep this broadcast under 10 minutes and we're now at over 12. So there you go. If you have any questions or any other ideas, herbs or plants that you have heard about and you want to ask me about ratios and frequency, let me know by leaving a comment below. Make sure that you share this video with all of your friends all over the internet and that you subscribe for more tips and a jolt of motivation for a healthy, happy, and beautiful life.